Mudbound is a 2017 American historical drama film directed by Dee Rees. It was written by Rees and Virgil Williams, who based their screenplay on the 2008 novel Mudbound by Hilary Jordan. It stars Carey Mulligan, Garrett Hedlund, Jason Clarke, Jason Mitchell, Jonathan Banks, Rob Morgan, and Mary J. Blige. 5. The film depicts two World War II veterans, one white, one black, who returned to rural Mississippi each to address racism and PTSD in his own way. The film premiered at the 2017 Sundance Film Festival on January 21, 2017, and was released on Netflix and in limited release on November 17, 2017, to positive reviews. At the 75th Golden Globe Awards, it received nominations for Best Supporting Actress, Blige, and Best Original Song, Mighty River. 7. At the 90th Academy Awards, the film earned 4 nominations: Best Supporting Actress for Blige, Best Original Song for Blige, Raphael Saadiq, and Tora Stinson. Blige became the first person to ever be nominated for both acting and songwriting in the same year. Best Adapted Screenplay for Rees and Virgil Williams. Rees became the first African-American woman to ever be nominated, and Best Cinematography, which made Rachel Morrison the first woman nominated in the category.
Plot.
In the Mississippi Delta, White brothers Henry and Jamie McAllen dig a grave during a rainstorm and struggle to lower their deceased father's coffin into it. When the Jacksons, a black tenant farmer family, pass by in a wagon, Henry asks the father, Hap Jackson, for help. Henry seems uncomfortable asking, and Hap hesitates to reply. A few years prior, Henry is conned out of renting a home and is forced to live near sharecroppers on a farm outside the town of Marietta, Mississippi, and moves there with his wife Laura, their daughters, and his virulently racist father, Pappy. The Jackson family, led by tenant farmer Hap and his wife Florence, work the farm's cotton field and dream of owning their own land one day. As World War II begins, Jamie and the Jacksons' eldest son, Ronsel, join the United States Army Air Corps and U.S. Army, respectively. Both men experience severe war trauma in the European theater as Jamie flies B-25 bombers and Ronsel commands tanks. Ronsel also falls in love with a white German woman. Meanwhile, in Mississippi, both families continue to live in poverty and support each other out of necessity. Florence also helps the McAllen family when their 2 young daughters fall ill with whooping cough, and then Laura offers Florence work to help care for her daughters permanently. When the Jacksons' mule has to be euthanized, Henry offers to rent out his mule, but exacts half of the Jacksons' crop in payment. Leaving the Jacksons nearly no choice but to accept, the proposed arrangement would diminish them from tenant farmers to the lower economic and social status of sharecroppers. Hap, who serves as the preacher for the local black community, falls while helping to build a church, breaking his leg and rendering him unable to work his fields. Laura sneaks money from her husband's safe so Hap can be properly treated by a doctor, much to Henry's disapproval and causing their passionless marriage to worsen. Hap recovers and prevents his family from further social decline. When the war ends, Ronsel and Jamie return home and realize that they have changed, but the Mississippi Delta has not. Jamie becomes an alcoholic and suffers from PTSD. Ronsel, accustomed to the relative lack of racism among Europeans, struggles with racism in Mississippi. They become aware of each other's difficulties and bond over their war experiences. Ronsel questions why Jamie treats him with respect, and Jamie recounts that on a bomber mission, a black fighter pilot saved his life. Jamie grows close to Laura, but his alcoholism worsens, and he drunkenly crashes his truck. Henry leaves on a trip and tells Jamie to depart from the farm before he returns. Ronsel receives a letter and photo from the German woman with whom he had been romantically involved and learns that they had a child together, and she wants him to come to Europe. The photo is of her and their biracial child. Ronsel shares this with Jamie while driving together when their truck passes Pappy, and Ronsel is forced to duck down to hide. Pappy confronts Jamie about him socializing with Ronsel and scolds him for his drunken behavior and sneers at Laura, claiming she has romantic feelings for Jamie. Later, Ronsel realizes that he lost the photograph, which Pappy finds in the truck. Laura confronts Jamie as he prepares to leave, and they have sex. As Ronsel frantically searches for his photograph, he is ambushed and beaten by Pappy and members of the Ku Klux Klan. Pappy brings Jamie to a barn where the Klan is preparing to kill Ronsel for fathering a child with a white woman. Jamie points a gun at his father in an effort to save his friend, and is also beaten by the Klan. As Jamie is restrained, he is told to choose Ronsel's punishment for his crime, to lose his eyes, tongue or testicles, or death. Through the pain, Jamie whispers tongue, and Ronsel's tongue is cut out. Ronsel is left bound and wounded for his family to find. Fed up, later that night, Jamie wakes Pappy, who had previously belittled Jamie's war experience because he had not looked into the eyes of the people he killed during the war. Jamie looks Pappy in the eye and smothers him with a pillow. Laura lies to Henry that Pappy died in his sleep. The following day, the Jacksons appear to be leaving with their meager belongings in the wagon when they pass Henry and Jamie, who are struggling to bury Pappy. Hap accedes to Henry's request to help with the coffin and says a prayer over the grave. In a rebuke to Pappy's wickedness, Hap recites from the Book of Job, verses 14:2-12. Jamie approaches the Jacksons' wagon and gives the German woman's letter to Florence, asking her to give it to Ronsel. Much later, Jamie moves to the city. Ronsel returns to Europe and reunites with his German lover and their son.
Cast:
Carey Mulligan as Laura McAllen, née Chapel, wife of Henry. Garrett Hedlund as Jamie McAllen, brother of Henry. Jason Clarke as Henry McAllen, brother of Jamie. Mary J. Blige as Florence Jackson, wife of Hap. Rob Morgan as Hap Jackson. Jason Mitchell as Ronsel Jackson, son of Hap. Jonathan Banks as Pappy McAllen, father of Jamie and Henry. Frankie Smith as Marlon Jackson. Kennedy DeRosen as Lily Mae Jackson. Elizabeth Winley as Amanda Lee McAllen. Piper Blair as Isabel McAllen. Jason Kirkpatrick as Oris Stokes. Carrie Cahill as Rose Tricklebank. Oilik Oyewafolakanmi as Cleve. Kelvin Harrison Jr. as Weeks. Lucy Faust as Vera Atwood. Dylan Arnold as Carl Atwood. Samantha Hofer as Russell. Geraldine Singer as Mrs. Chapel. Henry Frost as Teddy Chapel. Claudio Laniato as Dr. Pullman. Charlie Vance as Sheriff Thacker. Production. Development on the film was announced on March 21, 2016, with Dee Rees engaged as director and Carey Mulligan, Garrett Hedlund, Jason Clarke, and Jason Mitchell cast in roles. 8 on May 25th, Mary J. Blige was added to the cast. 9 on May 31st, Jonathan Banks and Rob Morgan were cast. 10. Filming. Filming began in New Orleans, Louisiana in May 2016. 10 for the film's opening scene, artificial rain produced by rain towers was used, while actual rain was filmed for wide shots. 11 shooting took place over the course of 29 days. 11 including 2 days in Budapest, Hungary, for scenes set during World War II. 12. The production was impacted by both heat and stormy weather. On one occasion, Rachel Morrison, the film's director of photography, developed sun poisoning.